Hi friends, I'll introduce you to some atlases today. These atlases focus on the ancient world and especially that would revolve around the origins of Christianity and beyond, but this might give you an idea about whether or not you'd like to buy any of these atlases. The first one, this is probably the best ancient atlas that you can get. The Barrington Atlas of the Greek and Roman world goes from the earliest Greek times up through late antiquity to around 600. Very large book. I can show you my arm on the book. So it's probably over 18 inches long. Inside of it, there is a map key inside of the cover, and each of these numbers corresponds to a page. So, for example, let's go ahead and look at this area here in Israel, northern Israel, page 69. And we turn over, continuing to look up here in the corner, the page numbers. And there's the Taurus Mountains. So keep going. Syrian province. All right, almost there. Here we go. There's Galilee and Samaria. And you get a lot of detail on here, the topography. You can see in other areas, like up in Asia Minor, I was looking recently in that area around Thessalonica, you could see little bridges. You could follow the Apostle Paul's journeys up there, but here's northern Israel, though, that we're looking at. A lot of it is in Latin. Looks like all of it's in Latin, actually. I mean, but you can figure it out. And a really neat atlas, probably the most detailed that you could get. Unfortunately, it generally costs around $400 brand new, and you have to find this volume used, and it happens occasionally on Amazon when a library is getting rid of their books, and perhaps one is just damaged or whatever, but it's still good for you, and it's certainly worth getting. The most detailed ancient atlas I think you can get. And there is an app for it on the iPhone, but I don't think it's been updated in some time. Here's a much simpler ancient atlas, the Atlas of Classical History by Michael Grant. Usually very cheap online. It's going to have all your necessary maps that you'll need. Very simple. I enjoy this. It's fun to just peruse and look through. You can have everything from ancient Egypt, but you have even prior to that, ancient Near East. And this is a little bit of an older atlas. Some things in this prehistory section are going to be updated when you look at the current research, but you're still going to be able to get a good general idea, especially of the Roman Empire. There's a lot of conceptual maps in here. Here's one on roads of Roman Italy. There's a later map. Here it is, the coinage of the Roman Empire in the early 1st century, and you have all the mints throughout the empire labeled. Very interesting. Palestine in the time of Christ. Journeys of Paul. You can always go to the back of your Bible for those. You already have that. But there's a lot of neat stuff. It goes up to the time of Justinian, and just a really good collection. I love this one of the 3rd century crisis. There's a lot of stuff you can read here in these sections if you're interested in the late Roman Empire. But it's a good map, a good atlas to have for ancient history study. Just really quickly, this is an atlas of medieval Europe, and not a very thick book, but it has a lot of articles, and you're going to get a lot more information about the geography and the political situations. This one goes all the way up to the Reformation period, of course, and really good atlas to get. Let me just give you a detail on some regions here. There's Spain, some more ideas about what's in here. More mint maps. We also have, this is a super cheap atlas. I can still recommend it. It's interesting to look at. Good for a coffee table. Good to bring with you to the bathroom if you want to be quickly entertained by some info. But this is probably a book that would cost you $3. And another medieval atlas. But I would still recommend this one published by Routledge. This is a great Bible atlas. The ESV Bible Atlas. It doesn't just have maps and things. Let me show you how thick it is. A little over an inch, I'd say. Has over 300 pages in it. This Bible Atlas doesn't just have maps. It also has great articles on archaeology. And I think that they based a lot of their map drawing, of course, on satellite images, but there's just a lot of great photography in here. This is an awesome one to have for your church library or your personal library. It's going to go book by book in some instances and just show you. You could use this, as you read through the Bible. It's going to be far better than even just your average study Bible in terms of the information that it has. And you're going to really feel at home in the ancient world as you go through the scriptures. I really enjoy this one, and it's well bound. Yeah, there's a really good binding on this one, sewn binding. Here's another one, very interesting, the Historical Atlas of Eastern and Western Christian Monasticism. So you can follow the monastic movement geographically all across the world. And you can see it from the beginnings. Monasticism was a concept that existed even in the pagan world prior to the Christian world and was adopted by Christians and Christianized, but a lot of good came from it historically. But I enjoy this one. It has a lot of great photos in it, and you can really follow church history, a certain aspect of church history as you go through it. But there isn't a whole lot of topography on the maps. It's just going to show you cities, rivers, regions, and then color code them for different movements and what was going on. But this is still a great book. I think it's put up by Liturgy Press or Liturgical Press. I'm not sure what that company's called. It's a Catholic company, but it's a great atlas to have. And this is the best atlas you can have, of course, of ancient Christianity. And it's put out by the Institute of Augustinian Patristics, or whatever that is in English there at the top. But the Historical Atlas of Ancient Christianity. And this goes up. It has a map that comes with it. And it's going to be a map of episcopal sees in late antiquity. I'm not going to unfold it, but it's really neat to unfold and look at. This goes up through the year 800. And you can follow the movement of early Christianity as it spread, took over the Western world, changed the world for good. And really neat atlas. There's been some criticism of it because its maps also don't have much topography. You just get to see cities, rivers, boundaries, things like that. But it is still better than anything else out there in terms of its focus on early Christianity. So there is the section of maps at the beginning, and I'm just quickly turning through a bunch of these, but then it will go through the different regions and through the chapters and sections of the book with awesome photography and more maps, of course. And I don't know, you can't find a good visual introduction to this in book form that would rival this, that would even match it. So I do highly recommend this as an atlas. There are some other historic Christian history atlases that are out there. There are some for the Reformation. I don't have that one. There are some general ones throughout church history. But this is all I have. And I just thought I would show these to you to give you an idea of what's out there, what you might want to consider. And it's a lot of fun to look through ancient atlases. Just to give you an idea, this Ancient Christianity one is nearly 500 pages. So, highly recommended. All right. I hope this was a neat introduction to some ancient atlases with a focus on Christian origins and Christian history. And hope you get out there and buy one for yourself.